I like how those are just like firecracker sounds. They're not.
I know.
We were closer to the exit than the elder side. We heard another gunshot, but we weren't in a situation to turn around. Rikako-san dropped to the ground, letting out a cry as she did, and I ended up basically dragging her so we could evade our assailants. Kinosuke saw that. His expression changed, and he, still holding Yasunaga-kun's hand, used his open hand to push my shoulder. I felt like there was a silent understanding between us. Not saying a thing, he hurriedly let go of Yasunaga-kun and took Rikako-san's hand, while I took Yasunaga-kun's now empty hand. It was an irrational action. However, I'd probably thought that I had no right to hold her by the hand, a feeling which made it hard for me to run.
Oh my fucking god.
Kinosuke staunchly grasped her and started running.
Oh.
Following his example, I took Meiko under my arm and started running, pulling Yasunaga-kun with me. The young man seemed to be in a stupor. Was it just me, or was the mist even denser than usual? It probably felt that way because I was running, making the lack of visibility way more dangerous. I followed the gravel path and ran uphill. Then, Kanzo and Takumi just got blown away.
Yeah.
Hearing that clear voice, I let go of his hand. That made sense. The other two were going there too, so if we regrouped and held our ground there... Oh, great. Suddenly, I heard laughter coming from the side. It almost makes me freeze, but I held myself together and lowered my head. Another gunshot. I could clearly feel the bullets fly past the top of my head. Meiko cried for the first time ever. I had to keep running while closing her mouth. I'd expected Yasunaga-kun to be right behind me, but I couldn't hear his footsteps anymore. Uh-oh. He was probably trying to convince Chiemi. Really? That's not... Alright.
We're doing this.
Oh, no! That brief exchange and the gunshot that followed seemed strangely clear. Shit! Was this the end of the line for this loop? With Japan being a mostly gun-free society, their power could easily be both overestimated as well as underestimated, making it hard for us to gauge. However, here in a mist where I could barely see anything and could be hit at point-blank range by surprise, I was all too aware. Guns were frightening tools that could end a life with a single pull of the trigger. I made it to Tai Yamawaki's house, hid behind it, and waited. I had to catch my breath and figure out my best route to the Nosato mansion. By following this path, I could pass the collapsed construction site and arrive at the mansion. That was the fastest way there, but I wasn't sure it was safe. Hearing that cheerful voice, I heard the unlocked door open up. I'd ran as fast as I could, but she caught up easily, probably due to her healthy legs and familiarity with the land. Meiko was trying really hard not to scream, and I was hoping that she could hold it in. Hearing someone enter, I counted to 5 and snuck out. I didn't sense anyone following me. Going down the hill, I passed the plaza and continued making my way to the Nosato mansion, hoping they missed me. Putting Meiko on my back, I continued sneaking. This was the second time I'd reached the final stage with her by my side. Was it fate or something? Shaking away that question, I went ahead. I kept moving forward, and quickly found out I was being too naive. Oh boy. There was a person right before the mansion. Oh no. There was a mess that looked vaguely human in front of him. He poked at it with something long and thin, probably a shotgun. I didn't know whether it was because he was a wolf or from the Crow family, but hiding behind an Okiba wasn't enough to fool him. He was right. The snappy attitude he'd given us on the latter part of the feast was nowhere to be seen. Faking his behavior to keep up the act just because He was a wolf must have been stressful for him. Right now, I was close to him and could tell by his expression that he was extremely refreshed. But man, Kinosuke seemed to have struggled, trying to let Rikako-san escape. He had gutted him somewhere after all, and now they're all on the outside. Oh, damn. Fuck.
メイコは見逃せよ。
そりゃあ難しいな。狼様的には読み人の筆頭みたいな子だし。
The top Yomibito?
ま、自分で読みに帰るなら知らないけど。
Was he bound by the curse of the real story? I let Meiko go.
この下の崖を目指して。それで川まで降りるんだ。できる?
Doing that probably meant the same ending as last time, but it wasn't impossible that she'd make it. Jimmy wasn't with us. Maybe if the little girl was alone. Whatever the case, it was better than just letting her get shot.
大丈夫。なんとかなるから。
And most importantly, if I died here, all of this would return to nothing, and I'd loop. I'd actually reach the point when I considered that in my calculations. Aw. As she started to run... Oh no. As Chikamochi Kamoshida began aiming at her again, I felt intense anger. I couldn't understand him at all. Was this how they really were? Or was this caused by the real story? My body moved before my messed up brain, which was something I didn't expect. My instinct to protect children must have taken over. I heard the gunshot, then felt the lead bullets bite into my body. Because of the poor visibility and because the buckshot was small, probably meant for birds, the wound wasn't fatal. Still, the pain assaulting my body felt like I was pierced by a dull tip of a sword. I staggered a bit, then fell to my knees. It hurt. A lot. I didn't feel Meiko behind me. She must have ran away without looking back. No idea if that meant anything. It hurt. Fuck, it hurt a lot.
何やってんだよ、ハッサン。あんな子のために死んでどうすんの？ハッサンは僕と遊ぶんだ。ハッサンは僕と遊ぶんだよ。
Ignoring my pain, he just said that.
しょうがないな。やる気がないなら、せめて面白い格好の死体にでも。約束が違うじゃん、モッチ。
Oh, Jesus.
That was terrifying.
I know, right? As I heard that voice, I looked up and saw that Chikamochi Kamoshida was dead. Whoa! The wolf that popped out of the mist wielded a blade instead of a gun. It was an extremely sharp kitchen knife. It was embedded to the hilt in the other wolf's head. Damn! The boy quickly collapsed without saying a word. Jimmy grabbed his weapon, checked the chambers, and clicked her tongue. Then she walked up to the boy's corpse and removed the knife from his head. God damn! The body jerked for a moment, then lay still. She looked at the weapon, wet with gray matter, then threw it away. I wondered what she'd do next, and she took a new weapon out of her sleeve. She has all of the knives!
She does.
It was like her entire body was a weapon. I began to question just how well I'd actually known her.
You hadn't known her at all. You knew her for like 5 days, and then you decided you wanted to fuck someone else.
Oh my god. She sounded bored, but I could feel the bloodlust and malice behind her words. I was shot! Oh, okay. Next time, don't let anyone have any weapons, idiot. You don't know her!
掟だか伝説だか知らないけど、それがいくら怖くても最後は抵抗することを選ぶ子だって思ってた。なのに。残念。
She spoke with unbridled malice.
新内さんの言う通りばっかみたい。みんな神様に踊らされてるだけなのに。ちえみさんはね、ただ単に最初から殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくて殺したくてたまんなかっただけ。そう、言ったら里帰りしたのだって殺しがしたくて戻ってきたようなもんだったしさ。だから今夢みたいだよ。残念、色男さん。芹沢千恵美はそんな人間でした。女を見る目がなかったね。
No. But that was just...
春秋さんに会った時から思ってたよ。この人を殺したらどうなるかなって。ある意味ようやく夢が叶うんだよ、今。ルール違反の私はどうせ今晩汚れでぐちゃぐちゃの死体になる。これは最後のお楽しみって感じかな。じゃあこれで
賭けをしよう。
All my curiosity about the mystery, the fear of the path leading to it, even the pain were all gone. Only pride was left.
10分くれたら僕は必死に逃げる。その後僕を追いかける。逃げ切れば僕の勝ち。君が勝ったらそうだな。
I wanted to set my own rules.
僕は君を愛しながら死んでやろ
う。
いいね。素敵。
Okay. Even if this was a meaningless, insane dead end, I would go and die my own way.
With a terror boner.
With a terror boner! Albeit staggering, I could still run if I ignored the pain. Blood was flowing out of all the wounds on my body, so I was probably leaving an easy-to-follow trail behind me. Even so, I ran uphill toward Kamifujiyoshi. I knew that the path was closed off here. The last loop, Haru-chan had entered the mountain and gotten stuck. The Misty Mountain was a separate realm avoided by the people Yasumizu. Perhaps like when I left through Satanaga, I was about to get lost in the mist and die to some monster. Even so, if I brought Chiemi here, I could maybe give a chance for Mako to escape, and that was good enough for me. If she wasn't coming after me, it was unlikely that she'd go after Mako instead. Chiemi would be left in the village all by herself to her own insanity. In that case, I figured I had to try running away through here at least once. I'd given up on trying to understand her insanity this time around. Next time. Yeah, I'd think about it next time. I passed the cliff and reached the mountain. The mist was even denser than usual. I looked down and noticed that a lot of the road was covered by a landslide. The earth, sand, and collapsed trees made it pretty much impossible to walk past here. I couldn't tell if it was artificial, nor did I have the knowledge to investigate and find out. I just followed the path. The 10 minutes had already passed, so Chiemi must have been tailing me. Whenever I stopped, I felt I could hear the sound of rustled grass in the distance. She was chasing me. From what I could tell, she was actually following the winding mountain path. That was good for me. I wanted her to keep it up. It made this more interesting.
What the fuck?
This is some real weird, playing hard to get bullshit.
Yeah, it really is.
Maybe she wasn't really trying to catch me. The distance between us wasn't closing at all. I suddenly became a bit dizzy. There was a largest tree nearby. I sat down next to it so I could catch my breath. My vision suddenly turned dim. I quickly opened my eyes, but I had a bad feeling, like I'd actually been out cold for a decent while. I tried standing up and realized that I couldn't move my limbs properly. I must have lost too much blood. The end was close. My dulled senses told me my pursuer was nearby. I tried finding the path again, but I couldn't for some reason. Apparently, my sense of direction, perception, and judgment were fading too. Perhaps things would have worked out if I wasn't injured. No, this was a different realm. Though acknowledged by few, the outskirts of the village were the hunting ground of the merciless mountain god, Great Lord Shinai. The only ones free to move in here were the madmen siding with the mountain god. This was unreasonable, unscientific, superstitious, abnormal. Why was Chiemi up the mountain? I'd always sensed her coming from below. What was that all about? I couldn't even say a thing, but I felt like I still had a chance. I rolled down the mountain. I just like the idea of him just flopping on his side and just rolling like a log.
I'm picturing that scene in Princess Bride where she pushes Wesley off the cliff, and then when she realizes what she's done, she flings herself after.
Oh my god, yes. Brimming with the joy of the hunt, Chiemi chased after me. A part of me wanted the mountain to just collapse. My path was blocked off by the natural trees, plants, growth in general. My body was at its limit. Unable to tell whether my vision was turning dim or if the mist was becoming denser, I continued rolling. I used the last bits of my energy to face her. The wolf was coming. It was close. It would devour both my flesh and soul alike. I'd won the feast, so I hoped that the mountain god would at least save my soul. I'd gone through a load of difficult shit thus far, so it wouldn't be unfair to let me have a peaceful ending, right? Yeah, I knew full well that the world wasn't such a kind place.
Man, Chiemi's got thighs that could kill a man.
I was like, damn, those are fucking muscular ass thighs. The upcoming death would surely be more painful and desolate than any before. After all, I knew that the one granting it to me was a girl I'd once loved. I didn't want this. I never desired an ending like this. Shit.
Too bad.
I didn't care if it made me look like a sore loser. I wanted to go out in a way that would leave a thorn in Chiemi's heart. I thought a lot of meaningless things. Oh, shit.
Oh.
But my words escaped me. The wolf's fang pierced the spider instead of me. Why any of this?
Yeah, really.
That was all I could say, physically and mentally. Why was she alive? Why was she here? Why did she protect me? Those questions spun in my head, but only the last one found an answer. Of course she would do this. She was descendant of the Uematsu until the very end. Her sense of duty and justice hadn't faded, even on the brink of death. As long as it's not some romantic bullshit, it's just Harikako being a badass, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
She glanced at me, completely denying my assumption. That wasn't it. Oh, fuck. She was simply obeying her wretched, unwavering heart. After all, I was special to her. I said another word. Sorry I couldn't stay with Mako. Sorry I couldn't protect everyone. Sorry I talked a wolf into a gamble that made it impossible for me to look you directly in the eye. That was the last word I would ever say. Even so, my eyes and ears were still active. Thus, I witnessed everything that happened. This is the longest death! With a man's scream, the mad woman tried to pull the knife out, but she couldn't. It was probably snagged in her ribs so badly that neither pushing nor pulling helped. Her voice was hard to make out due to all the blood leaving her mouth, but it was calm, gentle even. Oh, I've absolutely been paying attention to everything. Oh yeah, she's gonna take, okay. Huh. Would I remember enough of this to think about what those words meant next time? My failing vision merged them into one, and I noticed Rikako-san's hand reach for Chiemi's neck by chance. Her finger caught on something. It was something on a string. A pendant? What?
Mm-hmm.
Chiemi released the knife, snatched the object back, and held it to her chest to hide it. Her voice was dense with pain. Not only that, it was also tinged heavily with pity.
Oh?
I had no idea what those words meant, but they carried the impact of a death blow for the wolf. With that scream, Chiemi ran off somewhere, into the mist. She probably had no clear direction. Rikako-san collapsed.
ああ、ごめんなさい。春明様。
Trying to move in her heavy-looking robe, she tried to crawl over to me.
芹沢様も他の皆様も守れなかった。
She wasn't the only one. I thought the exact same thing. I really wanted to say that and go out with a smile, but I could barely even breathe. I used the very last of my power to collapse toward her. I then reached for her hand.
春明様。
Her hand lay over mine. All life left our eyes as we were gradually reduced to mere objects. Even so, her dying hand somehow felt warm.
いずれまた落ちる時は。
Oh, that thing we're not supposed to do?
素直に押します。
Yeah. I wanted to respond to those feelings properly. I would destroy all my chances of losing. And I would leave the mist alongside this foolish, pure, lovable woman. Next time, for sure. Next time I fall in love with another woman!
Next time I fall in love with Taiba.
Yeah! No, next loop you fall in love with Takumi.
Even better.
Okay, we got the Raging Loop, key 15. Alright. Bad ending number fucking 19. Okay.
Yeah,
so
they are all looping and just keeping it to themselves for no reason. Absolutely.
that would be actually kind of hysterical. Okay. Oh, here we go. That we just got key 15.
Yeah.
Alright, let's fucking do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
春明様は
Alright, whatever.
芹沢様のお気持ちが
Oh,
Oh.
理解でき
Okay,
Alright,
fine.
I know. I suddenly opened the door. I hope he immediately dies. Like he opens the door and he just explodes and I get a different key.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I did it. Of course I would. Oh, okay. I didn't want to see that ending again. Rikako-san was crying. Her voice had been clear and composed, so I had assumed that she wasn't feeling anything. I was wrong. She was merely hiding it.
開けない約束でしょ。
I break promises all the time!
Mm-hmm.
約束をした時点では守るつもりでしたが、あなたたちが約束を盾に、僕を好き放題悪者にするからあえて破りました。何なんですかその、見苦しい過去設定を並び立てれば、無事嫌われて円満破局みたいな空気感は、藤吉イズムですか？ぶっちゃけ、ちえみちゃん程度の面倒さの子はいくらでも殺してきましたから、状況がこうでなきゃ発奮す
I
る
don't
だけで
believe
す
that
し。
for a second. You're too much of a loser.
リカコさんみたいなレアキャラは超絶美味しいとしか思えない程度には人間腐ってるんで、諦めてほしいですね。
Crap, I overdid it a bit.
まああなたがどう思うかは知りませんが、僕は今の話であなたをより信頼しましたし、好きになりました。ちえみちゃんにもそう言ってあげたいところですが、それはあなたへの定説に戻りますから、別の手を打ちましょう。明日謎理論でしっかり丸め込んで、僕の友人を紹介しましょう。僕より少し頭が腐った
Yeah, I'm
変
sure
態野
all
郎
of
で
your
すが、
friends back in the city are just awesome people.
Mm-hmm.
いや待てよ。
I'm sure they're all awesome people who are all able to keep steady
ちょいピザ
girlfriends.
丸ハゲでも気にしないなら、超絶尽くす彼の方が。
春明様。なんで
Oh,
かよくわからないのです
reject
が
him! She seems pissed!
な
Yes!
ぜこの流れで私を好きなどと。
言ったでしょ。僕はルールは自分で決めたいんですよ。感情だって他人にルールされたくないですから。 みんなが嫌いなものでも、その気になれば喜んでいただきますとも。だから、僕に嫌われたければ、方法を改めてください。あなたから好きだって言ったんですからね。覚悟はしてもらいましょう。バーカバーカ、リカ子さんのアホ。
This fucking man child.
Mm-hmm.
死んでる？
Did we break her? Ah, she
I
finally
hope she
broke.
hit us.
何ですか？
Oh!
あなたはバカですか？
Awesome.
Yes, yes, he is.
何なんでしょうね。
こっちが聞いてます。
Anyway, enough with the personal grudges.
賭けはまだ有効ってことにしませんか？
The one where we'd win if we survived and could ask the other for whatever we
生
wanted.
き残った時、好きなように
Which
望めばいいん
I
ですが
just said that.
僕はそれを打ち消すような望みは言わないですよ。
あなたは本当に不思議な人です。多分きっと。
Fushigi is such a kind word. It's too kind a word for this
と
asshole.
ても悪い方なのでしょう。
I didn't confirm nor deny that.
それでもそう言っていただけて嬉しかった。それだけで私はもう十分です。
Not good enough? Well, maybe. Adult love wasn't solid enough to play out through just jokes and improvisation. Then again, we adults could survive without needing anything fancy. It was a virtue as well as a vice.
明日生き残った時、答えをください。
Okay.
あなたは今晩、狼に殺されるかもしれない。僕とメイコを守るために、自ら正体を明かす賭けをしたから。もしあなたが、明日目覚めてこなかったら、僕は結局、あなたにこんなことを望む資格なんてなかったと引き下がります。
春明様。
There. I was now at a key point. This tragedy-drunk heroine wouldn't die today. It would be the most unfortunate Kaori-san. Honestly, I wasn't sure how to feel about that. But I would test it this once.
せめて最後にお慈悲をいただけないでしょうか。
ダメです。僕はそれだけを生きがいに、この夜を越えるんですから。
不謹慎ですが嬉しいです。
It was imprudent. I was the imprudent one here. After all, I was making moves on a girl that could die
そ
tonight.
れではさようなら。
待った。
まだ何か？
I could finally get to the main matter at
野
hand.
蛮としての植松里香子さんに一つ協力してほしいことがあります。
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh?
Oh, okay. I guess we're just gonna find something out that we will use tomorrow. It was the day after I did the prep work. I approached the plaza, met up with Yoshitsugu-kun, acted surprised when I heard the bad news. I'm glad we're just kind of going through this, like, at Mach speed. And once
Yes.
again saw the remains of poor unfortunate Kaori-san. I then listened to the brothers opening up. Saw them find the letter. Noticed that the fingers were placed in the same position as last time. This had to be Chiemi's idea. In this particular timeline, she didn't seem to be anything more than a bloodthirsty madwoman. I felt like she'd be the one who decided that destroying the entire body was the way to go. And Mochi didn't hesitate to agree. I'd badly underestimated just how warped that boy's personality was. Poor Mamiya-san. I knew she was an enemy, but I couldn't help but feel sympathy for her. Thus began the Feast of the Yomi Purge. Hey, here's an idea. When we go in, can we just be like, so hey, can we pat everyone down and make sure they're not carrying fucking shotguns?
Right.
Can we do that? Yasumizu presented the scenario set up by the wolves. I turned it around. Everything was about the same as last time. If I didn't change my words, things would go exactly the same way as last time. Of course they would. The people I was talking to were the exact same. Strangely enough, I also said the exact same things without relying much on memories from last time. Or maybe it wasn't that strange. After all, though I had memories of the previous loop, I was the exact same person. If I'd somehow lost the memories of the final moments of the loop, I'd definitely be heading for the same ending right now. But in this case, it didn't matter if everything was the same this time. I could just go with the flow and do the same thing as last time. After all, it was already over.
そういう賭けだったんじゃないですかね。残念ながら負けですが。
Just like last time, everyone focused on Chikamochi, who had a half
や
smile
っ
on
ぱ
his
そ
face.
れ一方的じゃないかな。ハッサンやリッちゃんが本物だってのも決まってないわけだしさ。
And just like last time, he was bringing up arguments that had already been shot down.
それに香りママの指だってまだああやって読むのが正しいのかも。
もっち
And just like last time,
もうい
Chiemi.
いよ。苦しいよさす
じゃあ
うん
Guys!
やるとしよう。
Okay.
They went and did it. Oh, time to die again.
Yep.
They drew the guns from their sleeves. They're shotguns. Oh, that's why he's wearing the uniform and not his dress. His dress didn't have long sleeves.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. I've been wondering why Mochi was in his school uniform this time, and this made me realize it was to hide the gun. The barrels and grips on them both were cut really short, probably for the same purpose. One of them was aimed in our direction, while the other was aimed at Kanzo-san, who was already charging at them. Their intense charge paralyzed everyone except him and Takumi-san, who would now make a move and died with the shotgun blasts. However, that didn't happen this time. The guns didn't fire anything.
What?
A moment after Chiemi's expression warped with shock, Kanzo-san punched Mochi, while Takumi-san tackled Chiemi.
But
The lightweight body was thrown backwards and hit the wall. Takumi-san quickly grabbed the shotgun, aimed it at the floor, and pulled the trigger to ignite the shell in the other chamber. Once again, the gun didn't fire. He frowned, then opened it up, removed the cartridges, and threw them away along with the gun. Kanzo-san handled his situation a different way. He simply pointed Mochi's gun back at its former master. His face swollen due to the punch, he was crouching down and glaring at Kanzo-san.
離せ離せなんで畜生
Takumi-san took advantage of her staggering and pushed her down. She couldn't move at all. Things became a bit disorderly as we tied them up, but now it was relatively calm in here.
一体どういうことだ
Those words weren't directed to anyone, but everyone besides me related to him.
こいつはダミーだ
Kanzo-san said that while looking at the shells from the shotgun he'd taken from Mochi. Everyone understood what that
間
meant.
違えたんか
そんなバカな
Exactly. There was no way the cartridges she checked just yesterday were switched up in a single evening. The only one with any idea what was responsible for this paranormal phenomenon was Urikako-san. Last night I asked her to catch Chiemi and have a cat fight with her. That gave me the time I needed to go into Chiemi's room and mess with her equipment.
Jesus.
A lot of it depended on luck, and I needed a couple loops, but I somehow pulled it off. It wasn't fair in the least, but my life was at risk here, and I actually died, so I didn't really care. Where did you get the fakes from? Everyone, everyone continued to talk about how the shells were replaced, but since I decided to stay quiet, they didn't reach a conclusion. Now everyone was left with the harsh truth that these two were wolves who just tried to kill everyone here. Thus, everyone began talking about how to handle them. Yasunaga-kun suggested we tie them up and lock them in somewhere. He argued that now that we knew they were the wolves, all we had to do to prevent any further murders was make them unable to move. Kanzo-san was thoroughly against that, suggesting that we instead hang them over today and tomorrow. When asked for his reasoning, he insisted that wolves had to be hanged, and their argument wasn't going anywhere. Most of Kanzo-san's decisions were influenced by the legend and his own experience, so he didn't have a proper way to deal with the situation that's unorthodox. Yasunaga-kun, on the other hand, was bound by conscience and emotions, making Kanzo-san's option unacceptable to him. That left me no choice but to weigh in. Hang him!
ちょっとよろしいですか
Now everyone, even Kanzo-san, lended an ear to my words. It took too long for me to get to this
牧
point.
島さんとしては、とにかく一日一冊のペースを守ることが大事だと思っておいでなんですよね。
うん。
一方で安永くんは正直、ちえみちゃんやモッチーを殺したくない。
そうですね。認めます。ただ、怪奇現象の範囲外で犯人が見つかった以上、法的な解決を目指すべきだと思うわけです。彼らがやったことは許されることじゃないけど、それを僕らが裁いていいわけじゃない。これまで彼らが身動き取れなければ危険はないのだから、そのようにして、あとは霧が晴れるのを待つ。晴れなければ、そこで改めて再度の緊急避難が必要と
I
いう
mean,
判
that's
断を
fair.
下せばいい
That
んで
seems
す。
rational to me. The boy was talking sense, but
まず、お二人とも拘束が有効という点に、少々認識の問題があると思います。
というと、
このゲームの支配者、神内明神は、玄関の錠前を解除できます。とすれば、どんな拘束も解除できると考えるのが妥当じゃないでしょうか。
fucking Shinai has fucking wall hacks cheat codes.
うん。
Yeah.
それは。
そして、今日と明日に分けてくくる場合、今夜一人分、死人が出ます。狼に勝ち目はありませんが、きっと殺すでしょう。
そんなことはしないよ。
そうだね。無駄だし。
They were so easy to read.
僕は、彼らは殺すと断言しますが、その根拠はね、安永くん。
Because wolves always lie.
はい。聞きましょ
彼らが、とても冷酷な狼だからだ。
I walked up to
間
them.
宮久子さんのことを思い出してください。彼女は2日目に突然蛇を名乗り、冷静でない様子で振る舞いましたね。それはきっと、芹沢千恵美の指示です。
There was some noise in the room. Chiemi was still hanging her head.
おそらく、蛇を名乗れば安全だ、などと言いくるめたのでしょう。肝臓さんが、蛇の候補もくくるべきだと発言するだろうことも、承知の上でね。
Yeah, all right, this is making it sound like the wolves are like are just bringing out the evil natures of people and aren't actually like supernatural beings.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like it's a little bit more complicated than that. Like, once the wolves have their guardians, it might just, like you said, bring out the kind of inherent nastiness in a person.
Right, because like he's saying that Mamiya wouldn't have known Kanzo-san, so it's not like the wolves are these omnipresent beings that select these people. They still have to operate off of what, like, basically they still have to act normal while being driven to kill.
Yes.
Yeah.
事実それで、タエさんという無実の犠牲者を作ることに成功している。そうだね、チェミちゃん。
勝手に思ってれば。
そしてその夜、間宮さんは不可解な死を遂げるわけですが、それもきっとこいつの仕業です。
なんで？
そりゃ、彼女がよそ者だからだよ。信頼できないし、いざという時裏切る可能性が高い。具体的に言えば、彼女は翌朝くくられる公算がかなり高かった。肝臓さんがそう主張していましたからね。同意のないままにおとりをやらされた間宮さんは、相当な不信感と恐怖感を、この二人に対して持っていたでしょうね。そんな彼女ならば、くくられるに際して、他の狼の正体をばらして、道連れにしてもおかしくはない。
Yeah.
そう考えたから、夜のうちに彼女を殺して口封じをしたんだ。
しかし、それじゃあ一晩に一人以上殺してることになる。
ならないね。彼女は汚れを受けて殺されたんだ。狼にも何らかのルールがあって、彼女はそれに違反した。いや、違反させられた。この二人によって。
全部推測じゃん。
もう何でもいいよ。
だから否定してくれって言ってるだろ、二人とも。
面倒だから言うわ。うん、全部そう。春秋さんすごいすごい。ヤス君は思ったより脳みそ幸せな人だったんだね。
I love how fucking sarcastic she sounds.
I know, right?
知恵ね
まあ私らにも色々あって、最後まであがかないといけないことになってるからさ。もう質問とかやめてよ、面倒。
ちえみてめえ。
やめてください。気持ちはわかりますが、時間の無駄です。狼をやった人間とは、もう、分かり合うことはできないんですよ。
うん。じゃが、どうする？
というわけで、僕の提案ですが、片方は手足を切断し、片方は作りましょう。そうすれば今夜、拘束がなくても出歩けないでしょうから、安全そうです。それでもう一人を明日くくれば、狼は全滅。きっと翌日には霧も晴れ。
おい、不妻子。
はい？
お前、今なんつった？
ですから、拘束がなくても出歩けないし、凶器も持てないように、手足を切断するのがいいでしょうと。
Huh? What the hell was with the
何か
reaction?
問題がありましたか？
お前、本気で近持かちえみの手足をもぐって言ってんのか？
Yeah, that's way worse than just fucking hanging him.
はい。それじゃあ不足ですかね。大腿部と肩で切ってしまえば、さすがに這って移動もできないかと。
てめえ、やっぱイカれてるよ。
Huh?
それは、残酷すぎますよ。
Huh?
相手が狼とはいえ、それはそこまでは。
What?
ふさゆきさん、怖い。
Why?
ミカコさん、狼の獅子を切断することは、汚れの対象ですか？
それは聞きませんが。
皆さん、これまでに歴史と伝統にのっとって、生きてる人間を縄にかけて処刑してきましたよね。
Man, it sounds like you're on your way to getting to hanging.
ですが、
I know, right? He does make a good point, though.
Yeah.
考察はかなり苦しみの強い残酷な処刑方法だって説もありますよ。そうでなくても、多数決で人を処刑するなんて、やられる側からすれば、この上ない絶望と恐怖だと思いますし。
Haruaki's been killed a couple of too many times. He's finally fallen off the
それに
wagon.
狼は、あんな残酷な殺し方をしてるのに。皆さんは、随分、良識的なんですね。いや、それはいいことなのかな。
Jesus.
人間らしさ？ああ、なるほど。
They all fell silent. But even I could understand that there was something within them that made them averse to my
じゃあ
idea.
獅子を骨折させましょうか。粉砕骨折させれば効果は一緒ですから。あるいは明日くらいにちょうど死ぬ程度に野里先生に毒を処方してもらうとか。
God!
いい加減にしたまえ。そんな乱雑な処置で命の保証はできん。痛みのショックで死ぬこともあるぞ。それに医者の端くれとして毒など処方できるか。我々は狼とは違うのだよ。
なるほど、なるほど。わかりました。ちょっといろいろ誤解してたみたいです。じゃあどうしましょうね。今日誰かが死んじゃいますね。
He's so, like, laissez-faire about it.
He is, yeah. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
Like, and not in the usual creepy way that
Yeah.
Haruaki's a creep.
This was such a pain. Why did they argue against my suggestion if they had none of their own?
どうしても必要なら。
いや、わしがやる。
じじいと女が無理してんじゃねえ。僕らはそんなことしちゃいけない。
ああ、やめろ。まだ考える時間はある。
わかった。もういい。私、今から死ぬからさ。その前に、モッチーくくれば。それで誰も、汚れはなしでしょ。
わお、最後まで咲いてんね。
今度は何を企んでるの？
手足をもがれるのは、嫌だよ。
Even wolves were afraid of some things, huh?
そんじゃま、あっちでハルちゃんには謝っとくよ。
お前は、ハルちゃんと同じところには行けないよ。
Oof.
どっかな、りっちゃん。
くくった方は救われる。
あ
狼に殺されれば救われない。逆にする？
どっちでもいいよ。
いい。どうせ死んだら終わりだ。それなら僕がお前を殺す。どうしてこんな。
どうしても？
なんだよそれ。
よくはわかんないんだけどね。なんとなくどうしようもなかった気がするんだよね。
Yasunaga Oribe punched Chikamochi
ご
Kamoshida.
めんね、やっすん。それだけは本当だ。ごめんね。
落ちなかれ。
Yasunaga-kun pushed him forward. A moment later, the rope went taut. It shook for a moment, then slowly swayed back and forth, and finally stopped completely. Yasunaga-kun cut the rope. From the mist below, I heard the sound of something soft collapsing, then hitting the shallow water below.
次だ。ちえみ。
はいはい。
これでは間接的に我々が殺しているようなものではないかね。
さあ、新内さんとやらが判断するんじゃないですか。
お前、そうやってそのまま死ぬつもりか、ちえみ。
うん。だってそういうやつだし、私。みんな知ってたでしょ？私が上藤吉の悪ガキどもを殺しかけた時にそういう人間だってさ。まあその後できるだけ良い子のふりしてたけどさ、まんまと騙されてお疲れ。モッチーはああいう性格なのを私が操縦していろいろやってもらった感があるし、怒んないであげて。私が全部悪いで問題ないよ。だから好きに憎んで、みんな。
Looking backwards, she stepped up to the cliff.
リカ子さんおめでとう。障害を乗り越えて無事なんとかなりそうじゃん。
読み意味の宴はそういうものではありません。山と共に生きる我らが負った業を未来永劫背負い供養し続ける。私はその業を引き取るだけ。
じゃあまた生まれ変わったら今度こそ殺しに行くから。雲の末裔だかなんだか知らないけど、ご大層な教えを語り継ぐための子孫でも作って待ってれば。
そのように悪ぶらずとも。
Damn, bitch, don't be like that.
うるさいな。今から殺すぞ。嘘嘘。じゃあね。
ちえみ、
何？
神様って何？
Oh! Her pupils instantly shrunk.
やっぱり一番怖いのはあなただよ、春明さん。よかった。ありがとう。みんなありがとう。自殺させてくれて。
She took 3 steps
手足
back.
もがれるかもって思った時、本当心底怖かったよ。本当に怖かったよ。春明さん、一緒に狼だったらよかったのに。
僕はごめんだよ。
Oh, man, that's way worse. She turned around and ran as fast as possible into the mist and jumped. Rise not.
帰ってますね。
I alone turned around.
まだ、お前。
I didn't want to hear it. She'd probably fallen into a world different from ours, and I got the impression I wouldn't hear a sound. I didn't want to listen to the echoing silence. We then went on to clean up Kaori-san's body. After spacing out a bit, we all cut up some veggies and ate them uncooked. Just take a bite out of this raw potato. It was hard to make a fire in the mist, and as people of Fujiyoshi, no one felt like using fires other than the one in the watering hole, and everyone was averse to using the dining hall. Thus, everyone went to sleep. No. For the first time since the feast began, none of us could sleep. Morning came without us getting any rest. Oh, the mists are gone. And
Oh,
the mist is
nice.
gone. No one had died, of course. Everything was as the legend said. With the Yomotsu Okami gone, peace came back to the human village. However, it was hard to celebrate it. Yudai Hashimoto, Tai Yamawaki, Hisako Mamiya, Haru Makishima, the old man who cried wolf, Kaori Oribe, Chikamochi Kamoshida, and Chiemi Serizawa. A whole 8 people died. Even if 2 of them were outsiders, the settlement had suffered great losses. Everyone had an aversion to using fire to dispose of any remaining objects that carried signs of murder, so it was decided that they would be buried. The tatami, the floorboards, the futon, all of it. We all ended up making new gravestones for those we had lost. Rikako-san had told us the graveyard near the Hanging Pine was full of the feast's victims, so there was nothing under the stones.
それじゃあ、今はお亡くなりに？
はい。大往生でした。
Those who died normally would be burned at the crematorium in Kamifujiyoshi, run by Higuchi, then buried here. Those who didn't would be thrown into Sadanaga and simply vanish. Downriver, there's like a mountain of corpses.
I know, right?
Making sure no one saw me, I went down to Sadanaga. There was nothing. No corpses or belongings. Just like last time, Sadanaga was just a thin, shallow stream. However, I did find one thing. It was the pendant with the Yomotsu Okami symbol on it. What was this? Was someone wearing it? What did it mean for someone in Fujiyoshi to wear something like this? At this point, I didn't feel like investigating it anymore. Was that strange? No. I felt like that was just how things were. Days passed of us working on this and that. We somehow survived thanks to the food from the fields, and right as we were finishing up our work, help finally arrived. Kami Fujiyoshi sent some people to remove the landslide blocking the road, and now they'd finally made it.
大丈夫でしたか、皆さん?
Oh, this fucking guy.
Yeah.
It'd been a while since I saw Shoji Higuchi. He looked as friendly as always.
庄司、どうして今まで？
我々としても作業は進めたかったんだが、どうにも。不可解な事故が多発してね、霧が晴れてからようやく進めたのさ。それで、皆さんご無事で？
No one answered. Higuchi began looking sympathetic and started giving some orders to his people. Eventually, we were brought to Kamifujiyoshi and were made to spend a few days like refugees in some community center. Apparently, this was temporary. The village heads said they needed time to clean up Yasumizu after the disaster. I really appreciated the 3 daily meals they gave us from the nearby watering hole, and sleeping in a place without any mist at all was pleasant. The food was strangely fancy, and the people bringing it seemed somewhat humble. They'd always looked down on the people of Yasumizu, but now that we'd stopped the Yomi invasion, they actually revered us. That was just a guess, though, and I was still locked up in here with nothing to do. One day, I actually got to see the officer. It actually felt kind of nostalgic at this point.
Oh, 生きとったか。何よりだ。これ、お前のだろ。
Is it my motorcycle?
邪魔くさいからとっとと引き取らんか。
Yeah, my bike.
Yeah.
The weeks of exposure to the elements had left it looking really shabby. I'd just throw it down the hill and get a new one.
Yeah.
I had nothing better to do, so I decided to
そ
clean
ろ
it.
そろ復旧も終わりますから、皆さん休みずに戻っていただけます。
Nah, I changed my mind. I'm leaving.
不妻子さんも、それで気分転換に遠出でもされたらいかがです？
Okay. I actually wanted to return to Yasumizu, though. When I told Takumi-san that I'd take Meiko to the police once everything was settled and then return, he told me that I didn't have to. Rikako-san said she'd help him work the fields, and he'd accepted it. Kanzo-san fixed his rifle and began hunting again. Yasunaga-kun resumed going to school. Yoshitsugu-kun moved to the dorm and said he'd start going to school again too, joining his brother. Kinosuke would, as planned, become a part-time doctor at Kamifujiyoshi's clinic. When Kanzo-san returned from our shelter, Kinosuke actually looked after him like a proper doctor, which was some impressive character development. Anyway,
Yeah.
so, since it all seemed to be fine here, Takumi-san told me that I didn't have to return.
実のところはお前にはいくつもやってもらいたいことがあんだけどよ。お前よそに居場所あんだろ。だからこれっきり戻ってこなくてもまあ仕方ねえと思ってるよ。
This isn't it. There's still too many unanswered questions.
ただ
It is a
お
long
前
game,
を
you're
待って
right.
る女がいるんだからな
We're what, maybe halfway through?
Like maybe 2/3. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
the next loop or the next like series of loops are gonna be what does it.
Yeah.
それと一緒に延々畑作ってんのもバカらしいぜオラよ
すぐ帰ってきます。いろいろ片付けたらすぐに。
I did consider returning to the life I had, but I figured I should stay here
ま
instead.
達者になはいあんたの番
God damn it.
She's so stinking cute.
She was hiding behind that tree? With her pale skin turning rosy, she meekly walked up to me.
メイコ
Oh, we're back to
そ
this.
の達者に
Hey, what about me?
お姉
Fuck
ちゃん
you.
違うでしょふさゆきさんでしょ
Even she understood it, how precocious of her.
春明様どうかお元気で
I'd assumed that the fact that she wasn't treating this like our final meeting was a step forward, but no, I wouldn't let it fly. I hadn't survived just to say goodbye to you.
そんな薄っぺらな言葉じゃ許せないな。
たまには遊びに来てください
She sure was
そ
persistent.
ういうのを往生際が悪いって言うんですよ、リカ子さん。名前だって呼び合えるようになったんです。もう一歩素直になってくれたら僕はとても嬉しくなって一
Please
つ
don't.
大きな決断ができそうだ。
There were a lot of things I wanted to give to her and take from her. I was sure I'd find happiness if we made proper exchanges. After all, that was the sole light I'd ever seen in that dreadful mist. I wouldn't give up on it no matter what. Fucking...
春
This guy, he was like all about Chiemi, and then all of a sudden, now Rikako.
Mm-hmm.
寂しいですから
Yes, you've been lonely your whole life.
です
Brrr!
から
She's so fucking sheltered, it's not surprising.
Yes, you weren't even allowed to love
五
anyone.
章ですから
Yes, for the first time ever, you sought your own
戻っ
happiness.
てきてください
I couldn't control
う
myself.
わ見せつけやがる
Ugh. I let her go, and she looked up at me with angry eyes. She'd become a lot more expressive, and I found it nothing if not lovable. I would live out the rest of my life with her. This journey brought me to something unexpected and led to a really happy ending. Okay, no, wait, hold on. It's gonna be so fucking funny when he like turns down the road and immediately shows up in front of the convenience store, only to do this shit all over again.
Yeah,
約束
that's
しま
gonna
す
be。good.
Oh my god, it's gonna be the fucking best.
全部向こうのことは片付けて今度こそ。
はい
その時は僕が大事なことを言う番だ。
he returns literally the next day. Everything's reset. The thing that he says is, ah, fuck!
信じて待っております
Borrowing the Higuchi's help, I got everything I needed, secured Mako behind me with a children's belt, and left Fujiyoshi. Upon arriving at the closest city, I presented her as a lost child. They asked me questions, of course. I omitted some things, but didn't lie at all. They thought I seemed shady, but I was able to prove my identity, and they let me
バイ
off.
バイふさゆきさん
She waved, all smiles. She still couldn't get my name right. This reminded me that nothing that had happened in Yasumizu had drawn police attention. I had no idea who'd done or didn't do what to make it turn out like that, but I didn't care anymore. It was just the way it was. What was up with this looping business anyway? Was killing the wolves the condition for ending the loop? If that was the case, then it was caused by something that wanted the wolves to lose no matter what. No other explanation fit. Who would that be, though? Great Lord Shinai? That'd fit the story, but it often seemed like he didn't have a horse in this race. Also, if his only way to help the humans was to give out the Guardians and send me, then he was a seriously bothersome god. Would I go back in time if I died now? I didn't even care to try. Not to mention that situations in which you could easily die were the abnormal ones. Also, I'd actually left the village this time. That made the current situation different than any so far, and it was best to assume I wouldn't loop again. That was probably just the way it was. I stayed in that city for a while and contacted certain people, telling them that I would now be a farmer in a remote village. That got me in some serious trouble, but Yasumizu got no service anyway, so it wasn't like they could do anything about it. I'd cut ties with my previous life in 3 days, then entered a jeweler's store and bought the ring with the nicest design. It had a gem as red as her eyes, covered in gems as clear as her hair. Oh god, please just... something bad needs to happen to this man. It wasn't particularly expensive, but I felt it suited her better than any of the others. Then, just as I promised, I returned to Fujiyoshi. It was burned to the ground.
Everybody's dead.
I went to the officer, talked to Higuchi-san. Passed the mountain path. Come on, where's that payoff? Arrived at Yasumizu.
There's no one here.
And?
And?
Saw something I couldn't believe.
Yes? Yes?
Why? Why was everyone dead? Oh, shit! Why was Yasunaga Oribe dead? He'd survived after saying goodbye to his best friend and the girl that was like a sister to him, hadn't he? Why was Yoshitsugu Oribe dead? He made it through his mother's death, found common ground with his brother, and had his whole life ahead of him, didn't he? Why was Kanzo Makishima dead? He was old. He'd lost his granddaughter, protecting Yasumizu, and was about to live out his twilight years in peace, wasn't he?
Nope.
Why was Takari Muro dead? The likable guy had discarded his inner discord, believed in himself, and helped bring us to victory. Hadn't he? Why were all of their heads split open? Oh, the serial killer.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Rikako's not there. It was supposed
he didn't
to be
mention
over.
Rikako.
We'd ended it all. That was how it was supposed to be, right? I begged. Hoped that someone was still alive. If no one was, what would have been the point of those sacrifices? Oh,
Nosato.
Found one. A survivor.
Yeah.
He was covered in blood and held an axe covered in blood and gray matter. Oh.
Oh. Oh.
狼が来る
I then went on to murder him. After all, on one of the support beams in the hall I found him in.
There she is.
Oh, God! Was her body hanging helplessly. What the hell? What was all this? Why had I thought that I had it all in the bag? Everything was dead. Everything was lost. And I hadn't reached an end yet. The outside was shrouded in mist. Alright, we know this. As though led by something. I passed the empty plaza. Went down the barren hill.
嬉しい。私
Whoa,
に会い
what?
に来てくれた？ 逃げられると思うたか？落ちよ。落ちて。落ちて。
Yeah, everyone here has to be looping and they're not saying anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's throwing himself into the Sadanaga. Yep, okay. As I threw myself into Sadanaga's mist. Yep. Wait, what? I felt like I could hear her voice. Rikako-san, I couldn't fulfill my promise. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't cry for me. I couldn't make you happy. I couldn't do anything to help you feel normal happiness. I couldn't dispel the darkness of Fujiyoshi. And I couldn't even get close to the core of the mystery surrounding it. How? What could I have done here? I needed a new path. I had to find one that could lead me to the truth. Okay.
No.
Raging
Hey.
Loop. Huh.
A credit sequence.
I think we got that once before.
Did we get it at the end of the first weird loop where we didn't
The
participate
first-
in the feast?
Yeah, I think where we like, yeah.
It's
All
been
right,
so long.
I know. Okay. What key do we get? Oh, what did it say? Prepare yourself for the next feast. Okay. All right, what do we got? Raging Loop. Okay. Give me a key. Raging Lubu. Paradisical Babylon.
Okay. Yes, and?
What fucking language was that? Raising Loop. Key 16. Okay. Ending number 2. No hint corner. I don't need your hints.